I'd like to thank you for your testimony, too. Along with my colleague, I know this must be very difficult for you. However, there are a few things that I'd like to clear up. You said you went to the Waterside Inn looking for Mitch Laurence. I understand there were a lot of townspeople there, not members of the sect, but there for the rally.
That's true.
And were there any males, stout-hearted men who could have helped you out of a tough spot?
Certainly there were. I went there with Brad Vernon, one of my defense counsels. Pete O'Neill was there, Rob Coronal, Cassie's ex-husband.
And you said in your testimony that when you heard that Mitch Laurence was at the Waterside Inn, you thought possibly Cassie hadn't gone to the Virgin Islands and that she might be in serious trouble.
Your Honor, we've just covered this ground in exhaustive detail.
Yes, it is getting late, Madam Prosecutor.
I assure you, Your Honor, I am leading somewhere with this questioning. Mrs. Lord, you have in your employ a private investigator by the name of Jonathan Russell?
Yes, I do.
And you sent Mr. Russell to check on the airplane that Cassie might have been on going to the Caribbean?
That's right.
Mr. Russell deals in crime and danger and has a license to carry a gun. Why? You sent him to check on airline passenger lists?
I don't like
He has certain contacts.
And you, having sent him off, you, a woman alone, terrified for her daughter, certain that Mitch Laurence is an unexploded bomb, go wandering around a hostile place thinking he's keeping Cassie somewhere? Alone? Why?
There was a crowd of people milling about. There were guards. I don't think that I can make you understand.
Oh, I understand. You see, I do have a daughter at home. But I hear between the lines. You found your daughter not about to be raped, but having sex with Mitch Laurence and loving every minute of it.
That is not true.
Yes, Your Honor.
Not at all what happened. It's unfair. You say something about
Your
my
Honor,
daughter.
please.
Order! I will have order in this courtroom.
What was Cassie wearing?
Oh, now what relevance could that be?
I'm getting to that, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
Mrs. Lord.
She was wearing a little slip.
Excuse me, I think it was more like a teddy, and they're a lot shorter than a slip, aren't they?
Your Honor, what the victim of an attempted rape is wearing is irrelevant.
Wrong, Counselor.
Objection overruled, but get to the point.
The simple point is, Your Honor, the defendant found her daughter making love to a man that the defendant despised for reasons from the past.
Objection, Your Honor. There is no evidence or testimony of sexual contact between Cassie Callison and Mitch Laurence.
Overruled. None of us saw the attempted rape either. Let the prosecution make its case.
The defendant, Mrs. Lord, has admitted to bludgeoning the deceased. Why would she wipe away the evidence and then sneak her daughter out?
And why would you be trying to smear the reputation of an innocent young woman? Unless, of course, you're trying to generate enough publicity so you can run for Congress.
Defendant will confine her answers to the questions.
Mrs. Lord, do you want to give me an explanation as to why you went up to Mitch Lawrence's room alone without help when there was help available, other than the reasons of murder, premeditated and planned?
It was not premeditated, but it should have been, because there was nobody in this world deserved to die more than Mitch Laurence. Somebody was bound to do it. I'm glad that I did.
Oh, Dorian.
Am I to assume from that statement that if you could turn the clock back, you would murder Mitch Laurence again?
I did not mean to say that. You have been harassing me. You've been deliberately trying to make me angry.
Why don't you let me make that determination, Mrs. Lord?
Your Honor, my client is obviously very upset and in no condition to continue. May we request a brief recess?
Denied. If I adjourn this court every time a witness gets upset, we'll be here till Christmas.
No, surely you
Denied. You may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mrs. Lord, you were telling us why you felt that Mitch Laurence should have been killed.
I believe that there are a great many in this community who would agree with me. Yes, I'm positive that they would be in the majority.
She's hanging herself. Judith is feeding her the rope.
Wait, I know Dorian. She's about to make a brilliant comeback.
Unless you've taken a poll, I don't think you can support that. But the bottom line is you really have no remorse about killing a man.
That is not true. I will live with that anguish for the rest of my life. However, I did hate Mitch Laurence for what he had done to my daughter. But I was perfectly content to let the police and the courts decide how he should be punished. However, when I walked in that room and I saw Mitch Laurence standing over my daughter's unconscious body, I was not myself anymore. I turned into a mother lioness about to defend her cub. And I don't think that there's anybody in this room who can't understand that.
I'm sure we can all appreciate a mother's protective instinct for her child. But in this case, Mrs. Laurence, I think you really went...
Can we really? Can you understand it? I know that you have a daughter. But can your daughter count on you the way that my daughter counted on me?
I am not the one here on trial, Mrs. Lord.
Really? Why is everybody in this courtroom staring at you?
Mrs. Lord, that is enough.
I can handle this, Your Honor. You were very touching, very persuasive. A lioness protecting her cub, very natural, very understandable. However, I don't really believe lions kill for revenge.
I have already told you.
Tell us about Harry O'Neill, Mrs. Lord. Did you hear the question?
Yes, of course I heard it. Harry O'Neill was a very fine man. A good father, a respected member of this community.
And Mitch Laurence snuffed out his life, murdered him in cold blood.
Yes, he did.
You forgot to mention that you were a very good friend of Harry O'Neill's.
Harry was well liked by everyone in this town.
But you liked him more than most, didn't you? You and Harry O'Neill were lovers, weren't you?
Objection.
Your Honor!
Overruled.
Answer the question, Mrs. Lord. Were you and Harry O'Neill lovers?
Yes, we were lovers. But that broke up long before
And
he
Mitch
was murdered
Laurence
by
had to die. That was your reason, right? Because he killed the man you loved. And the prisons wouldn't deal with it, and the courts wouldn't deal with it, so you took it into your own hands.
That is not true at all, and you're twisting
No more
my words.
questions, Your Honor.
I have not had a chance to answer.
Order in this court.
Slur